So we discussed conformer dimension, strength, and role play dimension in the last class. So importantly, conformer dimension is nothing but if a dimension is related to more than one fact table is called as conformer dimension. Yes, we know that we can relate a dimension table to a fact table, but basically to get that as a conformer dimension, so we have to like relate a dimension table to multiple fact tables or at least more than one fact table is called as conformer dimension. Okay, and we have strength dimension. This is straightforward. So strength dimension is nothing but it is almost, as I say, right, it is similar to snowflake schema. And if a dimension table is indirectly related to the fact table, so this is the best example. In Snowflake schema, we do have a dimension table is divided into multiple sub-dimension tables, and whatever the dimension tables which are indirectly related to the fact table is called as strength dimension. So here in this case, month, quarter, and year dimension tables comes under strength dimension. That's what we discussed. So we have a role play dimension. Interestingly, as we discussed, right? So if a particular person plays multiple roles, that is very important. So that helps for the organization. But when it comes like role play dimension, we like we in the sense like the users or the business, for the client side persons, they may get confusion. As a developer, we are aware of that because we are going to develop those reports, right? So we know the data, but for the users, they may get confusion over these column names. So if you're going to use same date column for both order date and shipping date, then it will be tough. So the same date is performing as playing multiple roles like order date and shipping date. So in that case, it will be tough to identify what is order date and what is the date as ship date. So that's what we have to avoid. That is what the point here. So we have to avoid role play dimensions. So that is by making use of aliases. It might be table alias or it might be column alias, anything. So table alias in the sense you can use an alias name for a table. So you can kind of a duplicate replication of the table and you can use that as alias table. But in general, most of the cases, right, this will be taken care in the backend database side. Okay, that's not an issue. So we are going to discuss about degenerate dimension, junk, and slowly changing dimension. So what actually degenerate dimension? Let me let me showcase degenerate dimension within, or let's copy this. So degenerate dimension is nothing but, let's consider a fact table. So why I'm saying fact table in the sense, the dimension, right? So basically we do have facts and key columns, correct? In the fact table. So we know that in the fact table, just remember, so in the fact table, we do have facts and we do have key columns. Let's say we have day ID, customer ID, city ID, and item ID. Okay. So we do have facts and we have key columns. But importantly, key columns are also nothing but dimensions, right? We discussed about that, and or something like a foreign keys. But we do have a concept called as degenerate dimension. So what actually degenerate dimension and what column we do call as degenerate dimension? So basically we can tell that if a dimension resides only in a fact table and does not have any dimension table, Okay, does not have in the sense, let's take an example here. For that specific column, we have day date, right? So which is present in fact table. You can see here. So we have day date, which is present in the fact table, but this day date is present in day dimension table, which is the parent table. So we are referring, that's what foreign key, but we are referring this day date here, right? So we have a relationship between these two tables, and we have this information present in day dimension table, even in star schema. So, or here, you can see city ID present in the geographical dimension table, which we have a separate table for that. Prod, product ID is also present in product dimension table, and customer ID is also present in customer dimension table. But let's say if the dimension, right, if the dimension which is present only in the fact table and it's not present in any of the dimension table, or if you don't have any separate dimension table for that specific column related information, that is called as degenerate dimension. So if a dimension resides only in the fact table, it does not have any dimension table, that's what we do called as degenerate dimension. So example, I have worked for one of the project. Example is invoice, invoice number, or invoice number, or we have another column called as billing line number, but generally we have bill number. Okay, you know, we have bill numbers or invoice numbers. If you can see any of the invoices, you have invoice number. We don't have a separate or you have bill numbers, right? You don't have a separate dimension table for that. So this is one of the best example. Invoice number or billing number. In one of the project, as I said, we have a billing line number, which is actual column name. But the best example I can tell you is like the naming convention you can use like bill numbers or invoice numbers. So we don't have a separate table for invoice number, which acts as a primary key, and here is a foreign key, something like that. Straight away, we have billing line numbers or bill numbers or invoice numbers present only in the fact table, and we don't have this particular column in other dimension table. So that's what degenerate dimension. Okay, straightforward, but we may have or we may not have these kind of columns in every project. Few cases you can find this kind of information. So it's straightforward. If a dimension resides only in the fact table and does not contains any dimension table, is called as degenerate dimension. And even you can also ask, let's say if someone asks like, hey, if we have a day ID in fact table, and if you don't have any day related information in any of the dimension table, then can we call this as a degenerate dimension? Yes, we can use that. That's a concept, but basically this is what the proper naming like proper columns to call. But any dimension which present only in the fact table and does not have any dimension table, then that particular column we do called as degenerate dimension. Clear? So we do have junk dimension. Basically, like, yeah, so I'll repeat once again the degenerate dimension as Watson just joined. So basically, degenerate dimension, just a quick. So degenerate dimension is nothing but, so if a dimension resides only in the fact table and does not have any dimension table is called as degenerate dimension. So in the fact table, importantly, till now we learned that in the fact table we do have facts, And we know that we do have key columns, both facts and key columns in the fact table. Key columns are nothing but foreign keys. So, but we have another concept called as degenerate dimension, which present in the fact table. And the best example I can tell you is like invoice numbers or bill number, which we do called as degenerate dimension. Okay, so basically we do have, let's any column, right? So what I mean to say is like whatever the dimension which present only in the fact table, and if you don't have any relationship between fact table and dimension table based out of that column, let's say we have day id and I have a day dimension table, and that's not a degenerate dimension, right? So whatever the column present only in the fact table and does not have any relationship between the dimension table, or does not have this column contains this column in any of the dimension table, we do call it as degenerate dimension. Okay, so the next concept is chunk. It's not much important. We don't want to do like conversion of tables into chunk dimension, which straight away we are going to get a complete information. But let me showcase what actually chunk dimension is. Basically, it deals with flag values or Boolean values, something like true or false, or like yes or no, something like that. Okay. So Jink dimension basically, let me give you an example. Let's say we have a table called as gender. Let's say I have a serial number and gender. So 1, 2, and I do have another table, which is serial number is not a key column. Okay, just as number, serial number, and we do have marital status, whether they're married or not. Okay. So here, this is the status. I'm just checking on this, whether it might be married or single, correct? So we are not going to add something like this data, but the concept is like to get a Jing dimension output. That's what the intention I want to showcase. So let's say this is the data. And whenever you're going to perform concatenation or addition, right? So when you add these two tables, okay, so output is like serial number, gender, marital status. Okay, so we'll get all the combination. That's what the point here. We'll get all the combinations. So male, married, male, single, female, married, female, single. So this is what the output, something like we do call it as chink dimension. But in terms of the data, if you can see, we are getting all the combinations, correct? You can see all the combinational data. So for male, you have both married and single. For female, you have both married and single, correct? So probability, right? So you have a customer name, and you can relate with this whether the customer name, whether the customer or employee is male and whether he is married or not. So, and if you have these kind of tables, individual tables, it will be very tough and it may degrade the performance, correct? So that's the reason most of the cases you have all the customer details in one single table: customer name, customer ID, customer address, customer gender, customer marital status, right? So all this information. But what I mean to say is like junk dimension is nothing but which we are dealing with the flag values might be true or it might be false. So something like married and single. So you'll get more multiple combinations. That's a combinational data. It's called as junk dimension. Okay, so not much important, but I just want to showcase the types in the types of dimensions. And importantly, we do have slowly changing dimension, very important for interviews. We don't work on this, but as I said, like for sure, like 8 out of 10 questions, like 8 out of 10 interviews, for sure they'll ask what actually is CD.
Hi,
So
Ramesh. Can I interrupt you a bit?
yeah, yes.
Do you have any notes where we can read up, you can give to us where we can read up this after these classes? So when we watch the video, we can relate to the notes.
Yes, I think I have shared, but I need to check on that. I have notes. Yes, I'll share with you.
Okay, thank
Complete
you.
data warehouse and also the Tableau concepts. I will share with you after the class. Yeah, no problem. Slowly changing dimension is nothing but basically you can see the naming convention, slowly changing dimension. So the thing is, if a dimension keeps on changing across the time period, is called SCD. So if a dimension keeps on changing across the time period, we do call it as slowly changing dimension. Across the time period is very important. And importantly, we do have SCD type 1, SCD type 2, and SCD type 3. But I'll tell you what actually is slowly changing dimension, and we'll go through these three types. We have different types, but purely for reporting and also for a data warehouse point of view, these three are very important. So what actually slowly changing dimension is, the perfect example is like we can take employee details, serial number, let's say employee name, and we can use company details and experience in years. Okay, so we have company, experience in years. This is just a serial number. Let's say John, he works for Infosys, and let's say he worked for Infosys for 3 years. And I'm just mentioning the year, right? So just to get clarify here, let's say he worked from 2012 to 2013 and 2014. Okay, exactly 3 years, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, that's the time period. So let's say the second record, and John got an opportunity with, let's say, TCS, and worked for another couple of years from 2015 to 2016, or let's say 4 years of data. Let's 15, 16, 17, and 18, 4 years. So he worked for TCS for 4 years, and let's say he got another opportunity. Let's say Bank of America, and he worked for a couple of years till 2019 to 2020. Now in 2021, so let's consider till 2020. So what I mean to say is, this is what, which dimension? This is the dimension. Company is the dimension, right? So basically, So when it comes like employee details, you can also use location. We might change the location. But if a dimension keeps on changing across the time period, we do call it as slowly changing dimension. Initially, so he worked for like Infosys, then he worked for TCS, then he changed the company and he's working for Bank of America, right? So this is what the best example for slowly changing dimension, company name. In terms of data warehouse, this is similar to the type of a data warehouse, right? Data warehouse stores historical data. And that's the reason they will ask this particular question, what is SCD type 1? So we have some part of data. Yes, we know like 2021, it's March. So what I mean to say is SCD type 1, SCD type 1, it, it stores only current information or latest information. Okay, it stores only the current information or the latest information. So that means, let's say this is the historical data. Okay, this is the historical data. And here you can see SCD type 1, as I said, it stores current information. Let's consider 2020 December as a current information. And he is working for Bank of America. And now in 2021, right, let's say he's working almost like, let's say 0.3 months, right? And he got an opportunity, let's say for CGI or something like that. So any of the company. Now his current company is like CGI, correct? So the functionality of SCD type 1, it's a functionality, okay? The functionality of SCD type 1 is to store only the latest information or the current data. So what is the latest information? So initially used to work for Bank of America. Now in 2021, got moved to CGI, and you can tell that this is what SCD type 1, which stores only the latest information or the current information. It won't store all the historical data. That's a drawback for SCD. Not drawback, it's a that is what the functionality, right? Because we have different SCD types. SCD type, if someone asks what is the difference between type 1, type 2, and type 3, you can tell straight away, single line definition. SCD type 1 stores only the latest information or the current data. Okay. And SCD type 2 is very important. SCD type 2, it will stores all the historical data. Type 2 is very important. That's what they will ask, like what type of SCD you're working on, or like what type of SCD, what is SCD type 2? You can simply tell that SCD type 2 is like basically it stores all the historical data. That's what we do prefer for reporting tools, correct? So SCD type 1, it stores only the latest information. Type 2 is very important. It looks simple, but very important. Just remember, it stores all the historical data. That's what the data warehouse, right? That's what the type of data warehouse. Type 3 is bit interesting. Interesting in the sense it's not straight away. You can see this is what we have company, right? So we have a column called as company, but here in the SCD type 2, you may have a number of records. So that's what historical data. The record count may increase, right? It may increase. Not only employee related information, it might be any other data. The employee count will increase. For SCD type 1, it will every time it will store only one record, one row. But type 3, it stores current information, current and previous, current and previous data, not historical, but not
I don't know if
historical. Yes.
I have a question, but I don't know how relevant this question will be to what you're teaching. If you are in an interview and you are asked to relate how you used an SCD in a project you have handled in a previous job, how would you respond to that kind of question?
Yeah. So what I mean to say is like that's what there might be different data which can be handled in the data warehouse level. So we don't. That's what I mean to say. Like we don't handle SCD types in Tableau perspective. But let's take an example. This is what the best example I can tell. Like the company might change and the data will change for that specific employee. And let's say you have some status, right? So let's say you'll take an example of what's an example is like loan status. Okay, let's say you have a loan and the loan is not approved yet. Okay, and when you provide some part of some documents, right? So after providing some of the documents, and then the status will comes from approved to not approved to approved, correct? Or processing in process, or in Jira tickets, right? In Jira is a like Jira is a tracking tool, bug tracking tool, or you can also use that for multiple ways. Okay, so Jira tool. Basically in Jira, like they will assign you some task, they will assign you some ticket, right? So, and we have to work on that specific task. Okay, we have timelines. The first, it will be in development. The status of the ticket is development. And then if you've done the development, if you complete the development, then you will move to in progress. Okay, so the same status. So initially it was development from a certain period of time. Then once you not in progress, sorry, testing. So it depends. It depends on the like it depends on the specifications. So, but here you can see, like let's say I'm going to use testing. So you already done the development and you move to testing, right? This is the testing phase. And if that move to UAT, so I'll tell you each and every point after completion of this course, what actually the environments and all those things. So if you move, so this is what the status. Initially it was in development, then it got moved to testing, then it's UAT, then it's got to like begin UAT. So we have different options. Begin UAT. Okay. So begin production, validate in production, begin production validation. So we have something like that. So in prod, so this production release. So we are changing those status, the ticket based on your work. So that's what initially it was in development. Every time it's changing, right? But it will track the time, right? So when you started the development, what is the start date and end date? So what is the start date and end date for testing? So that's what each and every status will be tracked based on the time zones. So time zone or a time period is very important. That's what we do called as slowly changing dimension. This is straightforward. We don't feel much tougher in reporting side because they will handle based on the time period. So if if they change the status, they will track the start date and end date of that specific task, and we are going to track each and every status time period, the overall time period when you start the work, something like the project estimation, right? The project estimations, where whenever you're going to start the project, so you have a timelines, right? So weekly timelines or a monthly. So you have to complete this project in a month, and you have step-by-step process. That is what SDLC, something like that. So we don't worry about this information. So because ETL is going to work on this SCD to track the changes in the data. So that's not an issue. Clear?
Thank you.
And it's a good question. Yeah, thank you. So basically it's important. Uh, SCD is like slowly changing dimension. If a dimension keeps on changes across a time period, is called as slowly changing dimension. See, additional of records is different. Let's say you add a customer name, you add a new customer, new employee, that's different. But for John, the status is different, right? For John, which company is working? Initially, he's worked for Infosys, and now he's working for TCS, something like that. So this for the same particular person, and you're changing the status or you're changing the company. That's a differentiation. That's what slowly changing dimension. So type 1 stores only the current data. Type 2 stores all the historical data. And interestingly, we have type 3. So you can see here the definition. It stores current and previous, but not historical. So current and previous is something like, let's consider this is the data, and it will consider only like 3 and 4. That is, it will capture Bank of America and CGI related information. But the table structure is different. So the table structure is something like, let's say, serial number, employee name, and you have, they will create a column called as current company, and we do have previous company. This is purely depends based on the date column. So this column is created basically on top of date column. So now you can see, so because I mean to say SCD type 1 stores only one row, SCD type 3 is also going to store only one row, but you have an extra column. So you have, what is the current company? CGI. The previous company is Bank of America. Yes, the time period you can mention, we cannot place here like 2019 or 2020, something like that, because it will refer to this, both the companies. It's not correct. But the column name which is created is purely depends on the time period. That's the reason we are able to capture CGI here, and here we are capturing Bank of America. So this will be taken care, as I said, this will be taken care by ETL. So the table structure of the type 3 is different. It will store only one row or one record, right? So, but you are going to have an extra column. Right? Initially, we have you can see multiple rows, but here we have an extra column to capture previous company. Here we don't have previous company. That's the only thing with SCD type 3. But apart from that, it's simple, like SCD type or slowly changing dimensions, nothing but if a dimension keeps on changing across a time period is called as slowly changing dimension. Importantly, we have type 1, type 2, and type 3, and you can strongly tell that. So what kind of a SCD type we are working on in your project? So you can tell that we do have SCD type 2, and most of the projects we do consider SCD type 2 because it stores all the historical data. So we do prefer historical data. So we don't work on like current information or latest data. So that's not the thing here. So we have to go for historical data. That's what the data warehouse, and that is what the advantage of data warehousing tools. Okay. So data warehouse, as I said, the basics, very, very important. So you make, because like before going to Tableau, if you know what actually the terminology like star schema, snowflake schema, how we are going to establish relationship. So that's plays a major role actually when it comes to like development. There might be like simple projects, medium, and very tough, right? Tough projects. In terms of tough projects, if they provide like some tough dimension tables, fact tables, and we need to check on the relationships, then this plays a major role, because On the fly, yes, we can connect and we can pull those tables into Tableau and we can create those reports or dashboards. But in terms of data, if you has to work on some part of data preparation, like for the data modeling thing I'm saying, so if you want to join based on multiple tables, yes, these concepts helps a lot. Clear? So I'll just quickly go through a few of the things in Tableau, but let me know if you have any questions in data warehouse. So I hope you have gone through each and every point. This might help. And I will also go through few more points, few more basic things. Whenever we have a particular concept, right, I will relate with that and I will explain in detail. So Tableau is one of the best visualization tool in the market. And I have seen, like, I have worked on multiple areas, multiple tools, but I know the importance of Tableau. So, and Tableau is very powerful in terms of calculations and also like visualization. And you can install Tableau. It's for 14 days. As I said, it's for 14 days free trial version. And I will help you out how to install Tableau desktop. So when you install Tableau desktop, so you can see here, I think I didn't think maybe in a couple of weeks for sure they will release. Let's wait for a new release in 2021. You can see, still you can see like 2020.4.3 is the new update. So before last week I can see like 2020.4.2. Now we have 4.3 is the subversion is available. So what I mean to say is like whenever they are going to release a new version in that specific year, this is a subversion, okay? It's not a new release. So then the naming convention will be 2021.1 or 2, something like that, okay? So this is what Tableau desktop, and you can connect to n number of databases. So we do call it as data source sometimes, okay? So no need to get confusion over the naming convention, database, data source, okay? So we can connect to a number of databases. And as I said, like when you install Tableau, so we are going to get a separate folder called as My Tableau repository, okay? This is default. When you install Tableau, in the documents folder, you will find My Tableau repository. Even you can also install in Mac, that straight away you can get that particular path. So in the data sources folder, what I mean to show is like these three folders. So I installed 2020.2, 3, 4 version, right? 2020.2 and 3 and 4 versions. So you can install n number of versions. That's the advantage of Tableau. So if you can try to install any other software, I'm not sure. I didn't see, most of the software does not allow multiple versions. But the advantage of Tableau is you can install 2020.4 and you can also install 2020.4.3. And if the latest version released, right, 2021.1, you can also do that. So with one single license. So let's say if you apply for student license, this will help for 1 year. When we apply for student license, so that same license can be used for two users. Okay, that license help for 2%. So one license is enough, and you can install n number of versions. No need to apply, no need to use multiple licenses for different versions of Tableau. So I know, like, I do have 2020.4 and 3. I think I uninstalled 2020.2. Okay. So, but we'll plan, maybe I will check on the latest version. So whenever we got the latest version, so I'll try to install that. Okay. And I'm going to help you out in the licensing part. So like student license, student version. if you have any particular person who is pursuing any type of education, right? The current status must be student. So current status must be student, so that Tableau will provide the license within. I don't think it won't take much time, within 2 minutes or 5 minutes maximum. If that is valid, whatever the details you provided, if that is valid, you are going to get a license key. Okay. So then we'll apply the license. Let me showcase that. Okay, already connected. So here you can go to help. So you have an option called as manage product keys, correct? So click on manage product keys. You can see the license. So this will expire in May 2021, correct? So this is a product key. So if you can apply for a license, right? So that license will work for 1 year. So that's the advantage of student license. So before jump on to Tableau, so we have different types of extensions. So we'll go through each and every extensions tomorrow, but I'll just go through on a high level points. So we have different types of extensions called as .twb and .twbx. Importantly, we have .twb and twbx, and we do have .tds, .tde, and we have .tbm, .tms, .tps. So what I mean to say is, like, these extensions, right? So these are simple, but this plays an important role initial stage of the like learning period. So I just given this cap because to explain in detail. But Tableau workbook, so .twb is like Tableau workbook, and this is Tableau packaged workbook. So what is the difference between Tableau workbook and Tableau package workbook? So that's important. And this is like the connection information. So I'll tell you what is .tds. So generally the differentiation between live connection and extract connection. So when you connect to any of the database, you will find a couple of options here, whether you have to go for live or you can go for extract. I'll tell you each and every point. Why should we go for live, or why do we prefer extract connection? And we have other extensions like bookmark, Tableau map source, and Tableau preferences. But what actually TWB, TWBX, or everything we can discuss in detail tomorrow. But whenever you are going to save, what is the advantage of Tableau is when you click on save, right? You can see here you are getting an extension Tableau workbook.twb, or similarly you can see like excel.xls.pdf, right? Those extensions. You can save the workbook as .twb or TWBX, Tableau packaged workbook. Very important Tableau packaged workbook, and very interesting. So because for the traditional reporting tools, right, whatever the traditional reporting tools, we don't have this kind of functionality in other traditional reporting tools, but Tableau is one of the flexible tool where it captures all the external data by using .twbx. So I'll showcase the importance of these extensions. Okay, so I'll go through each and every topic in detail. Like we have extract connection, which is very important for performance, and I will go through like the functionalities and what is rows, what is columns. Before going through actual topic, I'll tell you what are all the options present in Tableau. We have filters, pages, this marks card, right? This marks card, it looks simple, but this plays a major role in Tableau. So without marks card, I do feel it's nothing. So this is very, very important. The marks card is very important. And you have dimensions, measures, right? So each and everything we'll discuss tomorrow. Any questions?